My name's Nick, and I run 3D Print UK, which is a 3D printing bureau. So I'm basically a photo processing shop of 3D objects. People send me in their files in the form of CAD data and STL files. I then fix them up, which takes a bit of time, and then put them on the printer, print them out, then remove the parts from the printer, clean them up and send them out to people.
So we've got an example here of what's been printed from the machine. Nick, could you talk us through that particular one that you've got in your hand there?
Yeah, so this is obviously a model of Lara Croft, one of my favourite characters. I chose her because A, the cult following, but B, because it's quite a complex shape to do. Like normally, if you were going to make this, you'd have to make her in multiple parts and stick it together, whereas with 3D printing, you can make it all in one go. There's no actual join lines in here whatsoever. I actually may look a bit low resolution, but I chose that on purpose because I wanted to keep true to the actual game character rather than having a high res, real human looking part. So she was built, I think that way, on the build tray. So built up layer by layer that way to reduce the amount of support material in her. She came off basically looking like a shadow of the top view section here with all the support material underneath. I then removed the support material with warm water and a toothpick. Had to clean away, and then you get the completed part like this. That's the support material, and basically these here come out with a combination of both build and support material on there. Okay. So anything under here, anything underneath an overhang, you have to have support material on because you're printing layer by layer. You obviously can't print on a thin air, so anytime there's any overhang whatsoever, you've got to build underneath it and then print on top of that. And these are £250 each, and you can see down there we've used quite a lot of them.
Wow. And how much does it cost typically for, say, one of these to get printed?
Right, something like that is about 10 quid.
Right.
Something like that's about.
Is that because it's a simple?
No, it's because
it's
of the volume. It's just because of the size. There's no difference in complexity, like cost and complexity. So if you've got a really complicated item and it's small, it's still going to be cheap.
Okay.
If you've got a big item that's really basic, it's going to be expensive just because it's big. Like this was, I think, £500 for something like that big. Right. Whereas this is a £5, and anything below 2.5 cubic centimetres is a £5.
Okay.
And then it's basically £2 a cubic centimetre from then on. But if you filled this as a solid block of material, it'd be like £10,000. But if you made it into a full working gearbox with hundreds of different parts on it, there'd be lots of gaps in it. So it'd be like half the price, a big quarter of the price or whatever.
What's the most complex object like you've got printed on this as well?
Good question. Mainly sort of figurines and stuff because they're the most. It's not necessarily the complexity. It's more on the fine details. So when you get really little features, you've got to remove the support material as well. So you've got to get around it, and without breaking the part. And it's not that easy to remove it. It looks quite easy. It doesn't dissolve. You've actually got to get away with a toothpick and a bit of warm water. You've got a 21st century piece of technology here, but I've got to clean with a toothpick and warm water.
And also, this dates back up to like 2003 and stuff, and it seems to like just hit the mainstream now.
Yeah, no, it dates back to the mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
And it was basically the first 3D printer was a guy who had a glue gun, and he drew a picture with a glue gun, and then drew another picture on top of that, and another picture on top of that.
Yeah.
And thought,
it's like molds and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
And then that's just been basically turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah. I saw one before back at GadgetsBoy Live, and it was a thread printing one.
Yeah.
How does that compare to this one? Is it similar or?
No. That's FDM, which is fluid deposition modelling, which is basically an extruded bit of molten plastic, and it draws the area, colours it in basically, and then draws one on top. This one has 2 print heads in there, which have got, I think it's 92 jets across a gap about that big, and it lays them down a bit like an inkjet printer. Pops everything in, and with that you get far superior surface finish, but you get not necessarily a better quality part, but you get much more defined edges, much finer details, which you don't get with the FDM. Although the FDM is, you get a slightly stronger part, you don't get the finished surface quality that you get.
Detail kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously I've got a sense that a lot of businesses would use this for prototypes and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you do them from consumers as well? So home user might want some piece of ornament or something.
Yeah, well, at the moment, the majority of the money is coming in via prototypes and stuff like that, just because it is still relatively expensive to do. So, you know, if you want an iPhone case or something like that, you can get one for a fiver of the market kind of thing. Whereas if you're going to get it printed through this, it would cost you like 10 to 15 quid, which is still affordable.
Yeah.
But with that, you can get customization, so you can have a completely unique iPhone case for the same price as another completely unique iPhone case. Whereas if you're going to mass produce something, you have to make 10,000 the same to make it worthwhile. Whereas this doesn't make any difference with the customization. As long as the volume's about the same, it's going to cost about the same.
So are those solid enough that there's no risk of damaging it as you?
Yeah, there's a layer of support material underneath any model here, so that this can slide underneath and remove them without damaging the model at all. So this part here is actually a truck, but it's built that way up, so you don't have to fill the inside with support material.
Right.
And then what I do is I'll remove this away. As you can see under there,
so those are like the support materials that you're removing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So under here, it could take about 20 minutes, but there is a little Land Rover.
Right, someone might be looking at that, don't really know what that big piece is, so could you tell us what that is?
Right, this is a project for a student, and it is a knife sharpener.
Okay.
An electric knife sharpener, and he wants a prototype done.
Prototype,
yeah. So, I mean, this one comes out, you know, it just looks like a block of cheese at the moment. But once all the support material is removed, it'll actually sit that way up, and there's a whole knife sharpening unit underneath there, which he'll be using for his exhibition, for his final.